Welcome back to the Ref Show. A new select group manager for select group referees in the Premier League, Adam Watts. I know that you've got views, both of you, Keith Hackett and Mark Halsey, you are the ref on that particular one. Let's have a look, though, first of all, in rounding up the performances and the action over the weekend in the Premier League. The big match performances, okay? Leicester winning at Sunderland to stay clear top of the Premier League. That was Anthony Taylor. And Mike Dean's display in Spurs 3, Manchester United 0. Let's take those first of all, Keith.
I think Anthony Taylor shows a great deal of maturity. He's a good man manager. There were some feisty challenges early on. Sunderland obviously going out with the intention of slowing Leicester down a bit with some of the star players. And I thought he handled that really well. He looked calm. He talked to players. He got his message across really well. I like Anthony Taylor.
Should there have been a penalty there?
Yeah, I mean, I confer with Keith. I like Anthony Taylor. He's got good mannerisms. He's got a good personality, and he does get himself around the field very well. And yes, you're absolutely spot on. There should have been a penalty. Leicester, Leicester, as Ake was brought down.
Didn't affect the result.
But no, obviously it didn't. But obviously you've got to ask the question, why wasn't it given? And Anthony's got himself into a fantastic position, you know, with his dynamic sprinting, his movement around the field. He's got the optimum viewing angle, and for some reason he just didn't recognise the offence. And I think when Anthony looks back at it, he'll be a bit disappointed that he didn't give that as a penalty.
A one-word quote. Sorry.
Well, looking ahead, I mean, I notice again that he's been appointed to the semi-final of the FA Cup with Manchester United.
If they beat West Ham.
Yeah, and
Lancashire lad.
Yeah, Manchester lad.
Manchester lad. He lives down the road.
But why not?
I mean, Mike Dean was appointed to the FA Cup final before the finals and taken off because it was Liverpool. And he lives
from the Wirral.
The Wirral. Yeah. You know, he's a Tranmere fan.
Okay. One word to summarise from Rob Harris on RefCam, Mike Dean's performance in Spurs' victory over Manchester United. Superb.
Yeah, I watched the game. I thought it was absolutely, masterclass of refereeing. As Keith rightly said in the first half, that Mike Dean, Mark Clattenburg's way up there, Mike Dean, and also Martin Atkinson. There's no qualms about that. They are holding together. I just felt in the dying moments where he cautioned Ali for a simulation, and for me, he should have just played on. It was seconds to go. It wasn't simulation. There was contact. It didn't mean to say it was a penalty. Just play on. Don't go looking for trouble.
Mike Jones has received plenty of praise this season. Keith, you were very much in the critical camp, but you've acknowledged his improvement. Manchester City 2, West Bromwich Albion 1 now. Tony Pulis was aggrieved, and I think you both feel, rightly so, that what he called a nailed-on penalty to West Brom was not given. That was a push from Mangala on Sandro.
Well, it was a push. It was a penalty. I mean, he's right to be aggrieved. I think this is what lets Mike down. When you look at the season as a whole, you've got to have consistency at high level. After all, you are an elite referee in this country. And sadly, I think he's in that third tier, not second tier, of Premier League referees. Those that are in the third tier should have less games. It's interesting that they seem to be listening now, because Lee Mason, who I've criticised, seems to be having less games at the moment.
But it's also about, at that level, getting the big key decisions correct. That's what it's about today. That's how it's like, as I said before, a referee's like a goalkeeper. You could have a really good game for 89 minutes, make one mistake, and they're all talking about that one mistake.
Okay, in terms of consistency, our two European Championship referees seem to be bang on again. Martin Atkinson in Bournemouth's victory at Aston Villa, and Mark Clattenburg in Liverpool's romp to victory over Stoke.
Well, just get them out. I mean, I'm sure in the coming weeks ahead, the real discussion we're going to be having is who's going to referee the cup final. And for me, it's absolutely clear that Clattenburg should get that appointment. Let's wait and watch.
Well, it's going to be interesting.
And then we'll have the debate.
But it's going to be interesting. I think there's a midweek fixture list. And I know that the UEFA guys, FIFA guys, are not going to be there. And we've got Everton, Liverpool. And so you've got Clattenburg away, you've got Atkinson away, Taylor away, Oliver away, Madley away, Pawson away. Who's going to do?
But let's not underpin the fact that Clattenburg is world class, and therefore he cuts well in Europe. He had an outstanding game, Spanish derby, made it look easy. He's delivering. So Mr. Riley just put them out regularly. Dean, Atkinson, and Clattenburg.
Right. What do you make of the argument post-match on Michael Oliver's game? Crystal Palace is 1-0 over Norwich, and even Alan Pardew said that Damien Delaney's challenge on Matt Jarvis, he said it was, what was the word he used? It was robust, he said.
But I think he also described Michael's as the best referee in the Premier League. But I have to debate that. But I understand that he was out drinking with Michael in Dubai, so I think that's where that came from. But I've got to say, for me, it was an out-on penalty, and I've been saying it. You know, Michael's got great potential, great potential, but he still keeps making these key match errors. You know, he missed a penalty in the Manchester derby. He's missed, in my opinion, another penalty. You know, for Norwich when he's brought down Delaney's brought down Jarvis, and for me, you know, he's got once he eliminates this from his game, he will then become a top class referee.
It comes with experience. It's concentration and awareness. The one thing that I criticised him last season, beginning of this, was his movement and positioning, but now it's faultless. I mean, at the end of the day, he put a shift in. I was really pleased with his acceleration, his movement, his positioning, looked spot on. It's now just holding that concentration and making the big decision, getting right.
Breezing through then, Bobby Madley, Southampton 3, Newcastle 1. Clean sheet, no cards whatsoever.
Slow.
My type of referee.
It's too slow. Well, if it's his type of referee, the thing about Madley is, it's like Pawson. If these guys want to reach the #1 elite position in Europe, they've got some work to do, and that's off the field rather than on it.
By contrast with no cards at all, Andre Marriner managed 9 in Swansea against Chelsea, 5 to Swansea and 4 to Chelsea in that.
Yeah, reflection of his refereeing.
But
I mean, his legs have gone.
And Kevin Friend, Watford 1, Everton 1.
Good to see him back. Good to see him back. Underrated.
Yeah. Finally, let's come to another debate, and this is the news that Keith, you reported on youaretheref.com in your report that despite speculation that a top former foreign referee was going to be brought in as select group manager of PGMOL, it's going to be a familiar figure in the former manager of the assistant referees, Adam Watts. So what do you make of that?
Well, let me tell you, in industry, people get promotions either to move them out of the way or because they're competent and can and absorb more workload and do things better and add to the business. Watts has done a terrific job in reducing the quality of assistant referees in this country so far in the Premier League, because the standard since Regier left and went to America and Adam took over, there's no doubts that we've seen an escalation of errors, we've seen an escalation of lack of concentration and poor performances by assistant referees, catalogued by others, not just me. So here he is, he's applied for the job, along with Chris Foy and others. And Foy, dare I say, when I was in office, I met him in the Northwest with Richard Scudamore, trying to tempt him to take over my role and be my replacement. Not my idea, that was someone else's, privy to that meeting. And at that time, Foy said, no, I want to continue refereeing. He made that choice, fine. And so he's in the list. Now, I'm not suggesting that he's the guy, but what needs in that position is quite clear to me. One, the criteria for appointment should be international referee of some status and some years of experience. A former, if you like, appointment or role within business, within management, that can be at shop floor level or in office, dealing with people, right? And handling, if you like, all the difficulties of HR and motivation. Can you imagine Mike Dean and Clattenburg listening to like Adam Watts stood at the front as a former average assistant referee, university background? So that says a bit.
What do you make of it, Mark?
I just think it's shocking. It's shocking. I mean, I've spoke to many national list officials over the weekend that I have contact with, and I'm still friendly with, and they're assistants. They were mainly assistants. He's never there for them. They never get a phone call when they need it, or they never get talking to help them. And what they're telling me is that There's no leadership. There's no direction. It's just not coming from us. That's coming from within. And
From your feedback.
from the grapevine, from the feedback, and that the standard of officiating in the Football League and the Select Group and the Premier League is dropping year in, year out. And I'm amazed. I'm with Keith. If I was a Select Group referee, and he was appointed to take over, how he's never refereed at the highest level. He's never refereed at UEFA, FIFA.
Mark and I have been in those meetings that I've had. I've been stood at the front, and they get very feisty. Yeah. Most referees have a strong personality, have a view, want to get it over, and at times it was almost a war in terms of a cross-polarisation of different decisions. So you need a strong
personality there. We're going to have to wrap it up because we've come to the end.
I just want to finish up. Yeah. I've been, Keith's absolutely spot on. I've been in those meetings. I've been in those meetings with just me and him, where I've been very fiery, and he's had to. No, honestly, and he's calmed me down because of the way he's been in that situation. He's managed men, he's managed people, and that's what it's about.
And that's where I've got to manage these guys and say, that's enough. Thanks very much. We could go on all night. It's been very entertaining and very forthright as ever. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Keith. Thanks to you for watching. YouAreTheRef.com. Back with another Ref show next week. See you then. Okay.